All right, ladies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of those in between or outside of it, welcome to episode 6 of Inside the GEFA and a very happy Kentucky Derby week to all who celebrate. Me, I don't, because it's 3 hours of coverage for 2 hours of horse racing, but there you go. Um, we're gonna get into the games that were, the games that will be. We might have some guests, I don't know, but here's your host back from a 2 week break. We are grateful to have him back, Mr. James Simonson. Take it away, Mr. President.
Caleb's going to be running this one.
I'm glad we agreed upon that
Laugh.
at our little pre-show meeting that we just had.
Never
Shut
mind.
up.
Here's Caleb.
Oh
That's what
yeah,
happens when you don't shut up.
Triple option, and they got this to you, Caleb.
I'll take it. Welcome to the show, everybody. Like Danny said, we'll talk about week 4, the games that happened for that. We do have at least one guest coming up in between week 4 and week 5. We'll talk about week 5. Let's get right into it. First game on the docket. Wolves made a trip to the Crusaders. Came out on top 98-28. Congrats on the Wolves. Statement victory for the first one of the season. What are your boys' thoughts on this one?
Well, congrats to the Wolves. Like you said, congrats to the Wolves. 98 points, first win of the season. It seems like they've been hearing what we've been talking about all season. They just took all their frustration. So, again, congrats to the Wolves. What a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's the first win for the Wolves organization as a whole. Being one of our expansion teams. But I really feel like I feel like they've shown us over the course of the season that they've got explosiveness, that they've got some athletes, that it's going to take some gelling and getting things together. And despite the fact that it was a road trip, I think most of us expected the Wolves to go out there and play a solid game, and they really came through across the board.
Yeah, this is I've been saying since week 0 when they went out to play the Tomahawks that this team didn't have much on offense. And through 5 games now, they've been maturing as an offense, trying to have some sort of identity. That showed in this game. I know it's the Crusaders. No slight to them, but I think that a game like this for the Wolves is going to be a big step towards the rest of the season.
Right.
It's a confidence builder. It's all this is a confidence builder. You put up 98 points. That's the most across the league that anyone's scored this year. Um, the whole film for the Wolves was a track meet. They did whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted to do. Uh, Congrats to the Wolves on that one. As far as the Crusaders go, they got to get some answers, man. They got to figure something out. I don't know what it is. And when I can understand if you travel somewhere and maybe lose a game like this, but to be at home to lose a game like this, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just looking at the numbers, you would think, whatever one of these teams was going to be at home, because it is a heck of a haul, was going to ultimately end up winning the game. But, you know, we've seen the ability to score some from the Crusaders. And I feel like, the Mustangs are not Mustangs, sorry. The Wolves
Wolves.
are just getting better as they're going. Um, yeah, I don't know what the answer is for the Crusaders. I mean, there's been other programs in the league that have just kind of started out slow and really gotten some veteran experience and some players, and then progressively picked up the pieces they need. And I'm starting to think that maybe that's one of the situations that we're going to have where um, they seem to have owners that really want and players that are actually coming out and finishing games. So I mean, if there's any kind of negative talk, we could say in the score, but ultimately, they're finishing games, they're representing the league pretty good out there, and um, I hope some of those answers come for them soon. It may just be next season. I don't know, but they're finishing games, and right now that's more than we could have asked of teams in the past.
Very true. Crusaders, keep plugging along. Something's got to happen here for you. Moving on to our second game from last week, the Mifflin County Tomahawks traveled to the Central Pennsylvania Legends. Legends on top, 56-26. This game early on looked close when you watch the film. The one thing the Tomahawks really do well is come out with energy, and they will play hard for 4 quarters. It does not matter who the opponent is. And for much of the first half, I thought this was a pretty close game. The second half is a completely different story. Every mistake you could make as a team, I felt like the Tomahawks did that. And you cannot do that to a team like the Legends. They will take advantage, and they did, I think, on every single one. On every single turnover, the Tomahawks or the Legends took advantage in this game, and I think that was the difference to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the halftime score was somewhere around 20-40. So I mean, it shows a competitive first half, but again, if we're just looking at scoring and numbers, the Legends seem to have really taken control in the second half. They were able to slow down the scoring ability of the Tomahawks. That again, the third and fourth quarter there, and just took control of the game.
Agreed. I very much agree with that one. Moving on, your Vikings traveled to the Comanche, traveled a little light. Comanche came out on top 65-32. As usual, Thor, the floor is yours. What'd you see on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, the Comanche put together a really solid team this year. I saw social media wise from posts coming in that they were at full strength that week, but unfortunately we weren't. I know that ends up a little disappointing when you are looking forward to a big matchup. But that's just the truth of the matter. I mean, we had some injuries. We have some guys that coach spring track, 2 different guys that ended up not being able to make it because of that. And then the typical life things when you have a 2-hour drive, car issues, those different kinds of things. But I mean, the reality of it was that the Comanche came out and played really well together. They're super solid up front, both on the offense and the defensive sides of the ball. Their special teams came out and did a great job. I mean, they won the game across the board, and it sucks, but we'll move on to the next week and progressively add guys back to our live roster and get them back on the field with us, and on to the next week.
Yeah, I feel the same about this game. I think not being at full strength affected so many different parts of the game for you guys, especially on the offensive side. Having to have Malik play quarterback for the game. Malik's a special player, a great athlete. If he's your quarterback, that takes away from the other things he can do on the outside as a receiver or as a running back. And I felt like the offense, even though you put up 32 points, it felt like the offense suffered a little bit, not having him out there to be able to run routes, catch passes, and all that. As far as your defense is concerned, again, not having basically your defensive line that I could see up front against what I still say right now is the best offensive line in the league with the Comanche, that's going to hurt every single time.
Right.
And I look forward to seeing this team next week. We'll get into it coming up on Saturday, hopefully at full strength. Going to need that one. Congrats to the Comanche, though. Again, solid game plan. Played very well, both sides of the ball up front. They got a lot of athletes. It's tough to contend with. By far my number 1 team in the league. But one more game. We move on. The Williamsport Wildcats made the very long trip to Bedford County to take on the Buffaloes. Come out on top 66-64. This was a track meet. This was big play after big play. Defense need not apply until the very end. This was fun to watch. Thor, did you get a chance to see this one?
I did. You know, I'm not saying quite as lopsided either way, but I feel like you know, one team definitely took control of one half, and one team had a little bit more control in the other half. Ultimately, you know, after halftime, you can see that the Wildcats came out, made some adjustments, and things just started to run smooth. They were able to make big plays, and a lot of the plays and that they, you know, the catches that they completed downfield and throws, they found ways to just make themselves like wide open. So, I mean, like you said, it was a shootout. Trying to see, you know, different defenses attack that offense while Cook's running it is interesting. You know, different looks that they play it, and I feel like the Buffaloes have been right there in a couple of games that they have in the loss column now, and this is one that they let slip away.
Yeah, this was the Wildcats making just one more play. It wasn't. I believe that the Buffaloes had the ball at the end with a chance to, with like on a conversion to take the lead. Is how I was told. Wildcats pick it off, took it back the other way. That play's not on the film that I could see. But yeah, this is big ups to the Wildcats. I've been saying uh that they kind of live and die by the big play. And on Saturday, they were thriving by the big play on offense. I've criticized them this season so far that they haven't put a lot of drives together. Didn't really need to do that on Saturday. Big play after big play. Everything was clicking, everything worked. This is a huge win that they can build now for the rest of the season, right? Because you start 0-2, you've clawed your way back to 500 with two big games. And especially coming up the one we got talking about here this on Saturday. For the Buffaloes, this feels like a lost season at this point. I think going forward, unless some big things happen, they're just playing for pride the rest of the year, is what it feels like. Because again, while their offense was hitting big plays, they put some drives together. The defense has no answers for anything. So we'll see what they can do. That is week 4. You've been keeping along with us going on the standings now. Number 1 is the Comanche, 5-0, firm holding first place. Right behind them are the Legends, 4-1, their only loss to the Comanche. Number 3 are the Vikings, 3-2. They just dropped 2 in a row. Big one coming up. Number 4, the Tomahawks sit at 3-2. They've got another big one coming up. Number 5 are those Wildcats sitting at 2-2 at 500 right now after their big win. Buffaloes dropped to 1-4 after this game. Got to find some answers. They've got a big one coming up. Very winnable. We'll get into that one. Wolves, 1-4. They get off the schneid. They get a win. They got a big one coming up, as we'll see. Crusaders, rounding the pack, 0-4. No answers, but they're still trying. Coming into the second half of the season, I kind of feel like we're seeing somewhat of a clear playoff picture. But we got some teams that are going to meet each other again here pretty soon. And we'll get into all that.
Still working on our second guest here, but we do
Okay.
have lined up. I don't know if they joined. If they did, it would be on your end because I believe you were the host. So I don't know if you maybe not.
I didn't get anything yet.
Okay. Waiting for Holden to join here.
Yeah, Vikings center Holden Wallace is our guest, our first guest, hopefully here, coming up soon. I think he's having a heck of a year.
Absolutely. Holden's my guy. He's played, I don't know, like 6 different positions here over the last few years when need be. And he's just one of those utility linemen that can help you out.
Over the course of his time in the league, he's played both sides of the ball, inside and outside on defense, on the line. He's been every position on the offensive line. He's been a tight end. He's been an H back. He fills a need when he has to. He's just one of those glue guys.
Right.
And no matter where you put him, he produces and it makes some plays. But I think he's been a really solid contributor on the offensive line this year, watching your guys' film,
Yeah.
especially in the run game.
So he's like a jack of all trades, he is.
He certainly is.
He is. Yep.
That's cool. Well, while we wait for our first guest, did any of y'all catch that NFL draft last week?
I did.
What did y'all think of your respective teams? How they did?
They drafted. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and we didn't get to draft a whole lot because we burnt some up building the team that we've been putting together. But I mean, I don't feel like it was terrible. We'll see how things go.
Though I didn't know you were a Lions fan.
Always have been. Yep.
I just developed a whole lot more respect for you.
Oh,
My
thanks.
mother, born and raised in Flint, diehard fan as well. Um,
Yeah, don't drink the water in Flint.
Thank God this was way before that. Anyways, um, as I've mentioned many times here, I am a diehard New York Giants fan, and I think we did pretty well this year. For the
Yeah,
first time since having Daniel Jones, dare I say I have hope for us this year.
you got Scattaboo.
We got Scattaboo, we got Abdul Carter, we got Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, y'all better watch out. We're coming for y'all this year. We are coming for you all this year. Don't count us out just yet.
Caleb, if you go to participants, you don't have him in the waiting room.
He's having a little trouble.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking to him or not.
Yeah, I'm texting him right now. I gave him the info to get on here.
Cool. I did too.
Good. So what have y'all been up to this past week?
Work.
I went kayaking yesterday.
Ooh, and how was that?
Nice. Yeah. I have a kid that's in 10th grade. He's got really good grades, so I let him play hooky, and we took the kayaks and with a couple of buddies and got out on the river. The water was
That's
high
awesome.
and moved really quick, so we actually it went faster than we wanted it to, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a good time.
I think more parents should let their kids play hooky, just, develop memories for them. Real quick story. Let me see, I was in fifth grade. This was in 2011 when Peyton Manning retired. This was the day of his retirement ceremony.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, I get called out of class for a doctor's appointment. No, I didn't know I had a doctor's appointment that day. My mother took me out of school, got me a haircut at Sports Clips, which if you don't know, you get your haircut while you watch, whatever sports game is you have on. And
Right?
then we went to, I believe, TGI Fridays to watch the rest of the game, to watch the rest of the retirement press conference and listen to it on the radio from Sports Clips to TGI. So definitely one of my favorite childhood moments. And I know your son is going to remember playing hooky and kayaking with his dad the rest of his life.
All righty.
Good time. I got our second guest. Did we get Holden on here now? All right.
Holden,
Yeah.
Holden's on
Sorry.
here. Holden.
Hey, what's up, Holden? How are you?
Hey, everyone. Sorry, technical difficulties.
It's all right.
That's
Welcome
okay,
to the
that's
show,
okay.
Holden.
Thanks for having me.
So Thor, did you want to run this interview or should I start it quick?
Um,
This was your guy that you got in.
so we both can, but go
Well, I
ahead.
mean, yeah, I'll start it
Got a
first.
history with Holden. Holden's a guy who's been playing in the league for 10 years.
Pretty close. Along 2016, I think, was my rookie year.
Um, Played with I know Maniacs and
Phantoms.
Phantoms, you said? Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the three that I remember. So go ahead, Caleb.
All right, so coming into the season, obviously you were on a team last year, Keystone Bowl champion. What were your expectations coming into this season? Like how did you think this was going to go before the first kickoff? Real quick.
I think every person coming off of such a high-powered championship team, you're always hoping for the best. You always hope everyone returns. I think, people move on. Life has a way of throwing wrenches in works, but I think that's always the hope. I knew even if some pieces left that we would still have a team capable of contending. And for a lot of the guys who thought they still had something in the tank, I think that's what drove them back. And Thor's amazing leadership, ownership, his ability to navigate all the eccentricities of running a football team and various personalities, I think is one of the main drivers as to why as many people returned as they did.
So as we said, you've been on 3 teams in the league. That third team right there is Story's one of your coaches. Compare him to the other coaches real quick. Now,
Oh,
if you want to talk bad about Thor about first in comparison to other people, do that if you want to. If you want to sing his praises, but as you know, other people you played for are watching, do that too. But like, what's the experience under now a few seasons with Thor as it was compared to maybe with say the Maniacs or even back to the Phantoms?
Going all the way back to the Phantoms, I mean, Boozy was a player coach. So that has a whole different connotation and style to it than being a team manager style coach. And I was so young, having not played really organized football until after college. I didn't truly understand or appreciate what a true owner slash coach was outside of them playing on the field next to me. So I'll leave it at that for the Phantoms. But the Maniacs, the Maniacs and the was the team that they were before that. I forget. Bucks. Um, Coach T, I like Coach T. He added discipline where previously in my career you didn't have with the guys, and I think a lot of people grew as football players and grew as young men um, around that leadership. Ziggy, I like Ziggy. He's a guy you'll go and have a beer with, and he taught me some of the finer points of blocking. I haven't had a whole lot of that since I've been in the league. Not someone who developed true O-line coaching styles and really had a big theory perspective to come at the position from. But for all of the good things those guys did for me, Thor, it's it's not even close. It's my kids will know about Thor. That's how big of a role he's played in my athletic career post college. Let me put it that way.
Love you, Holden.
Now,
You too.
now talking about your time in the league, we were saying before you got on, you're kind of a fill a role kind of guy. You've played a lot of different positions. I think even before you got to the Vikings, you played a number of positions as well.
Yep.
Is there any sort of, you think, feel advantage to having played as many positions and been like that Swiss Army knife kind of player, versatile as you, if you will, as now to like where you are now as this team starting center, who, by the way, we were singing your praises before you got on. I think you're having a fantastic season at the center position this year.
Thanks. As you grow, I mean, it can be anything. As you grow in your career, as you grow interpersonal skills, you develop, you develop sometimes into something you weren't previously, and having very little theory-based understanding of football, because I threw track in college. I didn't play football in college. I just sort of came in with my brain and my ability to understand things and learn things and my athleticism. And sometimes that's all you really have to go off of. So I started as a poor fullback, a very poor fullback, and I developed into a better D lineman and a better tight end and a better O lineman. And now at the ripe old age of 33, I've had those years under my belt and enough conglomeration of experiences and learning opportunities that now, I mean, I helped our first championship O line. I was the starting center for that run where we beat the Comanche. That was great. And now I have the opportunity to fulfill the role again. And I think Thor will tell you I am incredibly supportive of whatever his plan is, whatever his vision for our team. And if it benefits us and helps us to potentially give us a shot to win another one, then I'm all about it.
Good answer. It's a fantastic answer. You got Thor muted. So
No, I'm
back to
here.
the. Oh, okay. Well, you were muted. I didn't say you weren't gone. I just said
I went to have a smoke. Yeah, Holden's definitely a team first guy, and like I said, he's filled a lot of roles for us. He's played defensive line, he's played guard, he's played center, he's helped on special teams, he's played tight end. So we definitely appreciate him.
so. Going to this season now after the Comanche game, you guys are 3-2. Slipping a little bit in the standings. Talk about where you expect to be near the end of the season. I know you don't have to say championship. I know that's everyone's expectation when they first start, but like, what are you expecting now coming into the second half of the season? You're gonna see some teams again. Where do you guys
Yeah,
expect to be?
so I'll be completely honest. My first year with the Vikings, I went there because I was very conscious of the role that I would have an opportunity to play, which was the starting center job, because I kept my ear to the dirt and understood that they would have a vacancy there. Truth be told, going there the first year, I didn't really know that we would have an opportunity to win a championship. So that almost assisted me with from a low expectations point of view, and we were a second half of the year team. We had lost to the Hitmen in the regular season game, and we recouped, we rebalanced, we got some coaching kerfuffles out of the way, and now we have a ring for it. So I think, and Thor does a good job of keeping us one game at a time. And I think our captain's group is very well versed and experienced in also keeping the younger guys in a next game mentality. We know we're going to be in an opportunity to win a playoff game, most likely. if we play to the capabilities we know we're playing. So at that point, it's what can we do now to best prepare ourselves to make improvements that maybe we fumbled in the regular season games? How can we get those things ironed out? We do have talented guys on our roster. How can we figure out where to put them in the best position to succeed? Because like you said, everybody's goal is to win a championship. And at MOVA, we still are the defending champs. So the goal is the same as it was last year, the same as it was 3 years ago when we won. So that's staying humble and inside of ourselves to put us in the best position for the playoffs. That's where we're at.
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys are just one game at a time. You're not worried, you're not panicking on the season just yet. Is that correct?
Correct. I think no matter how you look at it, I think we're going to be pretty well positioned, at least for a 4th seed. I mean, you never want to look at that going in, but at this point, we get into the playoffs and we give ourselves a chance at a run. So,
Well, you just need to get into the dance, right? As you well
Right.
know, from our days with the Maniacs, we were that 4th seed and had a trip to the Comanche back in 2020. You just got to
That
get
was-
in and anything can happen.
that was a closer game than some would have suspected, especially at halftime. So,
Yeah, looking back on that game now, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun game.
yeah.
Thor, you got anything for your center?
The only other thing that I plan to talk to him about before we bring our second guest on here is about the upcoming game. We have the Wildcats. Vikings have Wildcats coming up this coming weekend back at our field. It's the first time I believe we've seen the Wildcats at home since they ended our season in 2023. So, what are you looking at as far as that game coming up? And 5:30 game, by the way, an evening game for us in this league. We do have a 7:00 game later on in the season, but this is our first later game of the year.
Wildcats is always a game that I circle every year. It's an incredibly athletic football team. I mean, JR, Ewok, and company return. So they're not a team to be taken lightly. I'm incredibly happy that it is at home because I think as the entire league knows, some really sketchy stuff happens in Wildcat land in Williamsport. So I'll be honest with that. I'm very happy that it's in MOVA under the dusk lights because it gets so light even in later hours. I think our team has an opportunity to show out. I think we have points to prove. We have some chips on our shoulders from the last 2 weeks. I think both from making sure we get everybody back on the field and put a good showing and put the league on notice that we're not going to be a championship team that goes quietly into the night moving forward.
Fantastic answer.
That is all I've got for Holden.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Really,
thanks for
problem.
coming on, Holden.
Yep.
Thanks
Have
for
a good
coming
one.
on, Holden. Yep.
Yep. Bye.
So, our next guest, I don't know if I said his name, should be joining.
Did not.
Joining here anytime.
Yeah, I didn't hear the name yet. So
we're bringing on Shane Walsh, and I believe Wade is with him too. So we'll be bringing them on next. Haven't really got to talk to a Wolf, and they got their first win. Who do they? I apologize, I don't have it written down. Who are they matching up with this week?
Wolves have the Buffaloes at home this week.
So they come off their first win, and they're playing a team who's been in some tough games, but ultimately hasn't won against anybody but the team they beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this will be a good chance to talk to these guys and see where they stand.
Yes. I want to start off If I may, I want to start off asking how it felt getting their first win of the season and being up that big. Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah, we got
We'll
Shane
let
in
you.
here.
We'll get him in here and we'll let you lead it off, Danny.
Awesome.
What do you think, Caleb? You good with that?
That's fine.
All right.
Any questions Danny has for anybody, let him fly.
Sounds good, fellas.
Shane, I see that you joined here. You with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in my car. I'm with Wade too. So if y'all got questions for him, he's
Oh,
sitting here too.
you're both here. Sweet. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
Go ahead, Danny. You lead us off.
All right, so first off, you guys, welcome. So, first question we have for you guys. We were just talking about this earlier. You guys had your first win of the season, putting up 93 points.
98.
First, 98 points. First off, how did it feel to get your first win of the season on that big of a margin?
Um, for me personally, I've been around for a while. You know what I mean? It wasn't as big for me because our season hasn't gone the way that we kind of anticipated it to. But for our young guys, the guys that needed that morale boost, that needed to see what it's like to, and honestly, to see the way we look when we're getting smacked and celebrating and stuff, to be on the other side of that was huge for our young guys. But as for me personally, that's just another day at the office, man.
Right. And Wayne, how do you feel, brother?
Same exact way, man. Yes, I mean, I expected us to do well, not 98, but for me, I expected us to dominate that team. You know, it was more so for the young guys for that type of game.
Absolutely. You guys gonna put up a good performance at home this week.
Hey, man, not to be too forward, but we honestly think that we can run with anybody in this league.
All right.
Caleb, you alluded to it a few times. We just got to put it together. We got a bunch of young guys, a lot of guys that are new to this. They're finally starting to understand it. Um, but we're getting there. I think if you guys really watch the film, if you guys have watched the film from every game that we've played, you've seen glimpses of it. We just got to put it together.
What about you, Wayne? What do you think?
We on the same page over here, boss.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have. Caleb, Thor, you guys can ask whatever you want.
Yeah, Shane. So you alluded to a little bit earlier, the season hasn't gone the way you wanted it to go so far. You smacked the Crusaders by 70. Talk about the importance, like you said, for the young guys building that confidence to see a win like this and then moving forward.
Um, I mean, we were honest and straightforward to them, and this isn't a dig on the Crusaders at all. But if you've been around football and you know football at all, like this is why Alabama plays fucking Wyoming Valley A&M to start their season. You know what I mean? We got hit with a gauntlet to start our season. A lot of the top teams in the league, a lot of the veterans in this league, dudes that have won championships, a lot of cores that have been together. So as valuable as that win was, I honestly think the trial by fire in the beginning of our season was a lot more beneficial to us because now we got to see both sides of it, and all of those teams have to see us again.
Right. So, and talk about the growth of the offense as well, because you said if we've been watching film, we've seen it. I've seen it myself. I watch, I think every game at least 2 times. And from your first game with the Tomahawks to what it is now, the offense is completely different from week 0. I like your quarterback. I like how I mean, there's like it's a little sporadic at times, but there are glimpses of the kind of team you guys want to be on offense. Like talk about just kind of gelling together throughout as the season's gone on.
Well, me and Wade, like we share a brain, so like the chemistry between us was already there, and like you saw that when he was still at quarterback. But to call a spade, he's an all-star in this league, being an athlete, being a corner, playing receiver, and playing quarterback. But he was playing out of position to help our team. Us bringing Chris Cruz, that's our quarterback. He's a young guy. Allowed Wade to do what he can do and play both sides of the ball, as well as alleviate me too, adding another receiving option into our receiving game. So now we're just kind of we're clicking on all cylinders, man. Like we all kind of are starting to share the same brain. The young guys are trying to get like up to speed with us. They see the energy that we bring because we've been doing this forever. Like we go from 8 man to 11 man, from 11 man back to 8 man, from 8 man to 11 man. So like we don't really get an off season. So we've been in mid season form. Um, but as for like us gelling, like I said, it's just we've seen everything now. We've seen the top teams in this league. There's really not no more surprises for our young guys. They know what it is. Before going into the Crusaders game, we had a meeting like we're either gonna sit here and we could waste the season or we can turn this shit around and really try to run the tables. Like we all pay to play. We all pay to play in this shit. So what are we really doing here? So honestly, it's just flipping that switch. Um, Guys got to step up. We got to make more plays. We can't just win a quarter or win a half. We got to play 4 quarters, and I think that's just the next step.
Sorry, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna roll right into this coming week. I mean, I know you said you guys feel like you can hang with anybody. And I don't doubt that. I mean, I've said on here continuously that we see some explosiveness from you guys, and it was just going to take some putting together. But you're facing the Buffaloes. I know the Buffaloes don't have a lot of wins in the win column this year, but they lost a last minute game to the Wildcats. They were in a tough game and ended up losing at the end to the Tomahawks. And their game with us was 10 points. So, I mean, even though they don't have a lot of wins in that end, I mean, Cook and company are some tricky guys. Like, what are you guys looking forward to as far as this matchup with the Buffaloes? Obviously, if you're going to, have, what, 5-5 season at this point, you gotta get all the last 5 games, and it's really gonna start by picking up the second win with the Buffaloes. Like, where are you guys as a team? And you guys excited about this? Anything specific you're looking forward to?
Wade, you want to say anything before I go?
Nah, you got it.
Attention to detail. I mean, that's the main focus of our like entire philosophy this week. Attention to detail, disciplined football. If you don't play disciplined football, you don't beat the Buffaloes. Um, some of us were there for that Wildcat game when we did beat them on their field and went on that chip run. You know what I mean? One of our coaches were there. I like to think we have a pretty good recipe. I think we understand what it takes to beat them. Now it's just a matter of showing up and doing it. They got to come to us. Last time we traveled out there, last time I played them in a big game. And like I said, like you said, we got to have a 5-5 season, or we got to start knocking off these top teams to get the points from their wins. So it's like we got to go, man. There's no It's a playoff game every week for us. There's no more regular season for us. That's the switch that we have.
Good stuff. Caleb, you got anything else for these fellas?
No, I don't got no more questions, man. Hey, good luck this weekend, though, guys. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Appreciate it.
yep. Thanks for coming on here. Good to hear from you guys, and good luck on keeping things rolling.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks for coming,
see you.
boys.
See you soon, Thor. See you soon.
Yep. See you next week.
See you soon, Thor.
Later.
Y'all boys be safe.
So I think with us having the Wolves guys on, we're going to go into our picks for this coming week, and we might as well start off with the game they play.
Yeah, so it's the Lehigh Valley Wolves. They're going to host the Buffaloes and the couple of one-win teams, I think, on opposite sides of the spectrum here. Obviously, the Wolves coming off their first win, did a lot of good things on offense, and then we alluded to it. They have been gelling on offense, playing better. The Buffaloes, the offense has played well at times. The defense has struggled mightily this season. I'm just very interested to see what kind of Buffaloes team we get this week. They have to make the trip. It's not a short one. Do I think they have enough offense? Tough call. Tell you what, Thor, you go first. I'm still deciding on the score here.
And this is at Wolves, right?
Yeah, this is at the Wolves.
So, I mean, I absolutely believe that the Wolves have the ability to score. The secondary for the Buffaloes has been a little suspect, and the passing game's really been getting going for Lehigh Valley. Um, if the Buffaloes travel full strength up there, I mean, it's not an easy offense to shut down. Um, I mean, I don't feel like Cook looks like he's playing 100% healthy, and there could be some adjustments made on their side, but I think it's a close game. I mean, it's hard to say that I think the Buffaloes lose 3 close games in a row. So I'm going to say Buffaloes win this game, but it's 44-40 in a close matchup.
I'm along the same line of thinking. I don't think the Buffaloes have a very good defense. I do think their offense can score. Their running game is still pretty good. They still play a very physical brand of football. And the fact that this game's not home for the Buffaloes. I know it's weird to say that. I think that the fact that they're not home, because they're not playing great at home. Like they're winless at home right now. I do believe. And
You're correct. They're only one
right.
at Indiana County.
And I like this kid from the Wolves at quarterback. I've been watching him now for 3-4 games. Like I said, he's sporadic at times, but he runs around. He does make some crazy plays. Because they're away, I'm gonna take the Buffaloes in this one. I'm not as close on the score as you are, though. I'm gonna go 56-36 Buffaloes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Buffaloes 44-42.
All right. So no Wolf on that one.
No.
Let's get to our next game. No pun intended, by the way. I just realized that.
Well, I remember week 1, I think I was the lone wolf picking the Wolves.
You might have been.
So I think that's the second time that's happened this year.
Moving on to our next game. Crusaders make the trip to the Legends. I don't got a lot on this one. I think the Legends are just better. I think the Legends are gonna beat them up all over the field. I got Legends 70-6.
I mean, I think my score has to be right there with you. I'll change it a little just for the sake of it and say 72-6. But again, I mean, I expect the Crusaders to show up and have some decent numbers and go out and give it everything they got. They're just still building and piecing some stuff together, and the Legends are rolling pretty strong right now, and I just feel they're going to come out on top big.
Yeah, if the Legends were to somehow drop this one, then it means not a single player showed up. They're very, very good. They're very, very disciplined. It's a very veteran heavy team. They're not going to drop this one for any reason.
I'm gonna take the Legends 80-10.
All right. Moving on, our next game. The Dauphin County Comanche making the trip to Mifflin County, take on the Tomahawks. This is their first game on I believe, a 3-game road trip they got coming up. Could be wrong if I don't think I saw it correctly. However, listen, I've been saying it all season long. This is the best offensive and defensive line in the league. They all play well, very, very well together. The running game is by far, I think, the best in the league as well. They get at the quarterback on defense. I like the things I see from the Tomahawks, especially with the effort that they play with, the energy that they play with. They're going to come out and punch you in the mouth for 4 quarters. If they can clean up their mistakes, I think this can be a closer game. I have it Comanche 53, Tomahawks 32.
Yeah. Um, I'm pretty close with you there. I mean, um, the Tomahawks defense can really play tough at times, and especially against the run game. Um, I think you're pretty close though. I'll say 48-32. Comanche.
52-46 Comanche.
Ooh, Danny's looking for a shootout this week.
What can I
And
say? I love close games.
and once again, Thor, purely based on just needing a win, you are once again for the third week in a row our game of the week. The Williamsport Wildcats are taking the trip to Phillipsburg, take on the Vikings. Hopefully a full squad Vikings team. Wildcats have put up a ton of points in the last 2 weeks.
They have.
And like I said early on, they were living and dying by that big play. They were dying by it more often than not. 2 weeks in a row now, they've been living by that big play. I'm not so confident that happens this week. I think with a full Viking squad, those big plays are going to be limited by a lot. I got you guys 45-24 winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, every week when it comes to our games, I just pick, and I always pick us. So we always expect a good game out of the guys from Williamsport. They got a lot of talent, and like you said, a lot of big playability on their program, and we look forward to a good game on Saturday.
I'm going to go with you, Thor, because if I don't, I'm going to hear about it straight into next week.
Not
Vikings 52-46.
No lone wolves this week.
no,
Everyone,
Whoa, you? Weren't you a lone wolf, Caleb?
bro.
no, he wasn't.
No, we all took the same teams
Ah,
with somewhat similar scores. And that is a wrap on the Inside the GEFA podcast this week. Any parting words, fellas?
nope.
Travel safe, people. Stretch and hydrate, and have fun doing what you love on Saturday.
Yes. Especially if it's watching a whole 2-minute race preceded by 6 hours of coverage. You boys Kentucky Derby fans?
Not particularly, Danny.
Neither am
No,
I.
no, not a horse guy. I do have to work for that though, so yay.
I do too. Before we sign off, for any of you sports fans, this is the Capitals Canadians final. Capitals 4, Canadians 1. Capitals move on for the first time since 2018, winning a series against Montreal 4-1. And as a Caps fan, that makes me extremely happy. I was there in DC when they won the cup, or just outside DC when they won the cup, so I don't know. We'll see what happens this year. But that's a wrap on Inside the GFA. We want to thank our guests. Caleb, Thor, again, thank you for being, amazing co-hosts. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Peace.
Peace.